So I kind of view you as our Neptunian expert here, as much as anyone, a diehard 32X advocate. So a person no better position to talk about it. You sent me some information about a new option. We had seen the infamous Moby Dick of gaming consoles, the Neptune, uh, has made kind of sort of appearances in Brazil. Hard for us to get. We reached out to our Brazilian listeners, and um, they didn't get back to us. And so we still sit empty-handed. Mike is um, probably slightly more passionate than I get, although I think I would really like a Neptune as well. I think that would be pretty fantastic. So you sent us some information that there may be an option available sometime in 2025.
Yeah, so there a few you can find on YouTube. A few different people have made their own Neptune. Um, Varying quality, some just to, have fun and make something that can play. For anybody who doesn't know, Neptune was a canceled Sega console that was going to be compatible with Genesis and 32X games without needing any sort of an attachment. It was just an all-in-one console. So rather than all the add-ons and building what was dubbed at the time the Tower of Power of this monstrous Frankenstein-esque creation of all of your Genesis attachments, this would just be one sleek console that you just play your games on. It just plays all of them in one place. That was going to come out and kind of sit alongside the Saturn, which they were sure was going to be a big hit, and sit alongside that as their cartridge based option and the Saturn for higher end CD stuff. And of course, none of that happened. They completely dropped the ball on the release of the 32X, and even worse in some ways on the Saturn, because not only did they rush it out like they did the 32X, but they actually angered a bunch of retailers, which led to it not being carried in a bunch of stores here in North America, which completely demolished any chances of anybody buying one. Um, I had friends who had every console, like they just next to their TV would be an entertainment center with everything, Atari 2600, ColecoVision, NES, Master System, everything. No one had a Saturn when I was growing up. Never ever met somebody who had a Saturn when I was a kid. So, with all the video game nerds that I hung out with, nobody had one. I have one now. I love it. It is a great console. There's a lot of great stuff for it, but it was kind of a mess the way everything was handled. So the Neptune is just lost to history. Sega fans have always wished this would exist. In Brazil, like Kelly said, there's some companies that are giving you options and things like that, but you pretty much have to be in Brazil to take advantage of any of that. But now there's this GF1 Neptune that was announced that's going to be an FPGA console, similar to what like Analog does and things like that, that will act as a Neptune. It has the form factor of the Neptune because people know what the Neptune looks like because Sega released pictures of it, of their prototypes and everything. So we know what it looked like. It's not, it existed in some form. It was just never released to the public, never mass manufactured and released to the public. So it's the form factor of the Neptune. It's an FPGA console that will play all the cartridges, supposedly. Um, Obviously, people have been burned on so many scams and even Sega related scams recently with that company that was doing their own Sega system and using the Sega name. They thought that was okay. It wasn't. That didn't work out for them. Sega wasn't cool with them using their name somehow. But one of the things I like right off the bat that this company is doing is, first off, it looks like you'll be able to get it wherever you live, which is great. They have a newsletter. The website's very simple. You just go on, sign up for the newsletter, shows you a picture of their console. I already got a response when I signed up for the newsletter. And one of the things that they explain right off the bat, this is not something where they're asking you to put down money to reserve it. There's no pre-orders or Kickstarter. It's just going to go up for sale later in the year. And they're going to keep everybody up to date as when that will be. And then it'll just go up for sale and you just buy it. I like that, especially because there's been so many scams lately. Just let me buy the system.
Yeah, and it's good. I mean, the Neptune was good looking console. Not since the wood grain of the uh, Atari VCS. Has there been a better looking console than the Neptune? Very, very much Tim Burton Batman universe consistent.
Yeah.
So it's a really clean look. It's a great looking console, and several of the options that have been out there that typically involve taking the 32X module, taking an existing Genesis, pulling the boards out, doing some other things, putting a shell over it. Out of my pay grade, 100%. So it's nice somebody's done that. Their approach, I like that they're not crowdfunding. I like that they're not saying limited run. I like that they're going to actually communicate with you. So we'll include a link where you can go to the site and sign up for the newsletter that Mike mentioned. I'll be doing that, and it looks pretty cool, and it's kind of a neat piece of gaming history. So it would be a nice addition. Again, as I've whined about, one of my major first world problems is I've run out of space on my stack of consoles at this point in time with the recent inclusion of an Xbox One now as well. So, um, but for this, we'll sort it out. So we're going to do a skip it, listed, buy it on this. We're very interested in hearing your thoughts on whether you're going to skip this one, list it, get it sometime, or actually buy it. And I'll the we don't know the cost yet. They did say it'll be cost, kind of what you would expect for other consoles like this out there. What I don't know if that means other consoles like this out there from analog, which would be one set of price points, or other things from like an Atari 2600 plus or this or that. There are two distinct families of price points there. So kind of hoping it's the latter. But for me, definitely a listed. I mean, I'm going to go buy it for this show with an asterisk that if they choose the analog pricing route, I'm going to downgrade it to a listed. And so that's where I'm at. Where are you at?
I mean, I'm pretty much a buy it. Price point is important, obviously, and that's an unknown. But if this comes out, if it works good, I at this point I can't see how compatibility would be an issue. I mean, Genesis games can run on almost anything at this point, and 32X games seem to emulate just fine. This is an FPGA console, so you're using real hardware with it. So I can't imagine that there's going to be any real problems, but obviously we want to see it work. Um, but I would probably go in the direction of analog pricing for this because just being a lifelong Sega fan, never having the chance to get a Neptune and the idea of building one myself, even ones where you like, there's one company that makes a Neptune board, but you still have to pull a couple of chips out of your Genesis and 32X. That's still way more than I'm willing to do. And not only that, but one of the videos where a guy does that project and it looks really cool and he has like a 3D printed Neptune shell and everything. It looked great. It still cost him hundreds of dollars to do that, getting everything together. So an actual just made console that I can buy and put in my game room is exactly what I'm looking for. And because I'm such a huge Sega fan, such a huge 32X fan, I assume that this will work with an EverDrive cartridge because it's an FPGA console. I'm I don't know if I would go full on analog pricing, but I could get up there. I could justify it for this.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair on that. And yeah, I'm like you. Anytime, if it's like, make sure you ground yourself before you take this next step. I'm out at that point. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm, I don't know if I'm grounded or not, and I don't want to problem solve for that. So, not going to do that. I'll go the extra mile. I will plug it in. If I receive the console, I will not demand that they come in and connect HDMI or AV cables. I'll handle that piece there. I'll even connect the controllers. So these are things I am willing to do, but I'm not willing to pull a chip and move it to another board. Not at this point in time. So cool. Hey, we'd appreciate it if you'd let us know in the comments where you're at on Skip It Listed Buy It on a Neptune coming out. Pretty exciting. Well, while you're there in the comments, just mosey on up to that subscribe button and subscribe to the Panda YouTube channel. We'd appreciate that very much. Give this video a like, share it if you wish. If this isn't the one you want to share, we got lots of other ones. Go take a look, including a daily podcast, Hard No. It's the world's shortest podcast. And check those out. There's merchandise. There's actually free retro games out there that have been developed either under Belinsky Enterprises as a wholly owned subsidiary of Bog Panda Vision, or some stuff that I'm doing, particularly with Doom 2. So check that out. All that stuff's free. You might find something that will work on one of your systems and enjoy. So, anything else, sir?
No, I think that's it for now.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bog Panda.